Yo, what's going on, guys? It's someone that's no one here today, and today we're back for another dream journal. Now, before we get into this one, I just want to kind of break it down a little bit of what it's going to be like. I'm guessing this is going to be 2 to 3 parts, and it's not going to be from my perspective, how most dreams are coming off, where I'm acting as myself. It's actually a dream about someone else I had about like 2 years ago. It was just placed in a whole entire different context of something that was like outside of my life that I've had a dream about, and I wrote about it, and it came out to be actually a pretty I thought a pretty entertaining story, pretty quality story, maybe a little bit better than some of the other ones. But that's for you to decide. And it's going to be a little bit more serious. I'm not really going to be jumping in as myself. It's going to be more as narration, similar to how the trip reports kind of are, and just kind of me playing that narrator role and maybe breaking down some things here and there if things are a little bit confusing. But that's mainly what I wanted to say before we get into this one. So just so you guys have an idea of what this is going to be about. This will probably be titled like The Tale of Derald or some shit like that. I'm not even sure yet. You'll guys see. But I hope you guys do enjoy. Subscribe if you like the video. And yeah, leave a comment if you want to fucking comment. And let's get into this. Derald was from a life of struggle, one he was born into, the type where he had no choice in the matter. It was the way he was raised. Derald was now 17. He left home a long time ago to live with his so-called homeboys. At his new house, there was things like drugs and weapons used not only for protection but murder as well. Certain colors would be worn to show association towards their group. Derald knew what he was involved in was wrong. He knew that he should be in school, studying, working hard, and getting a real job to help support his family who lived in poverty. But Derald also enjoyed the luxuries of his life. That included usage of substances that would get him high. Derald would consume these substances almost daily, as it was not just a way to make money, but also as a pain reliever. Derald did not want to face reality. There was someone Derald did feel some sort of feelings towards. That was an old school teacher from his middle school that made him happy. She was older, of course, but young, just lying in her late 20s. Derald would have thoughts of contacting this teacher. He secretly had a crush on her, and Derald would be turning 18 soon. Derald had a thought of maybe he could live a reasonable life if he were to be with this lady. Her name was Kendall. Derald did research and found out that Kendall was still in the same town working as a teacher still. Derald wasn't exactly sure how to approach her, but he was sure once he had that she would be happy to see him. After all, Derald was her favorite in class. Derald told his friends about her, but they told him back that he would be wasting his time and that a woman that old would never go for an 18-year-old that deals drugs and is in a gang. Derald thought different. He thought that Kendall would look at him differently. Derald knew he had to try to do something with her for his happiness. Derald became obsessed with the idea. He began to envision what they would be like together. He would often daydream about it, and his friends knew he began to obsess over her. Derald would talk about Kendall a lot until eventually one of Derald's closest friends, Joseph, took Derald out for a drive one day. "I'm bored, let's go around for a drive," Joseph told Derald. Little did Derald know that Joseph would be taking him to the school, right around the time Kendall would come outside to watch over the kids. And unexpectedly, Derald saw her after Joseph said, "Hey, look." Derald's eyes lit up with surprise and awe when he saw Kendall. She was exactly how Derald remembered. Derald valued her mostly for her looks. She was what Derald would call thick, an ideal hip-to-waist ratio, but Derald liked her because she was nice and mature, unlike other girls Derald has come across. Derald knew what he had to do. Derald told his homies that he would be asking her for coffee, or a date rather. Of course his friends showed him support, but in the back of their minds, they knew it wouldn't work out in the end. The very next day, Derald went to the school alone this time. Around the same time, Kendall came out to watch the kids leave, so Derald made his move. He casually walked his way up, and from about 15 feet away is when Kendall saw Derald, and her eyes lit up. Kendall never expected Derald to come back. Kendall didn't share the feelings Derald had for her. "Oh my God, is that you, Derald?" Kendall asked in shock. Derald couldn't help but smile at her. "Come here," Kendall said, and they both hugged. They were both happy to see each other, and they went through some small talk for a few minutes, catching up on what they've been doing. Derald had to lie his way through the conversation so he wouldn't be seen as a gangster or a drug dealer. After a few minutes of small talk, "I have to go back to work soon. We should go get coffee sometime." Kendall was the one to offer first. Derald was as happy as a sunflower. They exchanged numbers, and Derald was off back to the crib. Derald couldn't wait to tell his friends and couldn't wait to text Kendall. Derald didn't realize it, but his feelings exploded as he couldn't wait till they met again. Once he told his friends, everyone was still pretty skeptical about the entire situation. They knew that something was up or that it just wasn't going to happen. Kendall and Derald scheduled for coffee that weekend on Saturday morning around 8. Derald normally wouldn't even wake up around that time, but this was a very special occasion. Derald woke up and drove over to the coffee shop, and Kendall was there waiting for him. The two had a great conversation, catching up on what has been going on over the years. It was all great until Kendall brought up one thing. "I met my boyfriend just 6 months ago." The very fact threw Derald way off, and he wanted to punch a door in. Of course, Derald held that in and tried to act cool during the situation as Kendall talked about her boyfriend, only 6 months. From the details that Kendall gave, the guy was actually supportive and nice, also more appropriate for her age. Derald didn't care how nice he was, he just wanted this guy out of the picture so he could be the one with Kendall. They talked about for a half an hour until eventually Kendall had to leave. Kendall made another offer to Derald to meet up again next weekend. Derald accepted. Derald was happy to see Kendall, and up until the boyfriend part, he was the happiest he had been in a long time. Derald had to do something about it. Derald told his friends back at the house about the situation. They all said their thoughts about it and thought it would just be over, and they just wanted to get Derald back to selling more frequently. For that day, Derald thought as he went out to go sell. He thought about what he should do about Kendall's boyfriend. He knew he had to do something. He didn't want Kendall's boyfriend in the picture at all, even if he was able to sneak by it. Derald wanted Kendall all to himself. He wanted both of them to be in a relationship. The next day, Derald decided to find out who the guy was. He told his friends about it, and they were willing to help out. They found a Facebook profile on the guy. His name was Deshaun Williams. From what they saw, Deshaun was a stable, steady guy. He worked as a manager at a local warehouse. He had family and friends he would post about. His pictures looked clean. Everything they found about Deshaun was clean, like professional. Everyone was a little skeptical about it, but took it how it was. His friends didn't comment very much on the situation and let Derald make his own decision. Derald didn't really care about how Deshaun felt. He didn't care what he would have to do. Derald thought and thought. He didn't think that Deshaun would be the type of guy to cheat. Derald thought maybe he could try to frame Deshaun for cheating, but Derald figured that would be too much work and it might not even work out in the end. Derald thought for a while, and eventually he thought he had to get rid of Deshaun, make him disappear somehow. Money wouldn't make him go away. He didn't know what to do exactly. But a thought did come, but it wasn't really something he was for sure he wanted to do. He would feel too guilty about it in result. That would be taking him out, killing him, and making him disappear. Derald has shot someone before, but it was only a gang-related incident. He wasn't sure he could actually go through with a normal person who was innocent in the whole situation. But at the same time, Derald was selfish. He wanted Kendall more than anything and didn't care if some guy had to pay for it. So Derald thought about it some more the next day, and the day after that, until finally it was a sure decision, something he had to do. Derald told his friends about his idea. At first they thought he was joking about it, but they saw the seriousness in Derald's eyes about it. They were all gangbangers. They were all willing to take somebody out. For Derald's sake, his friends finally agreed to help him out, but Derald had to be the one to kill him. Derald was totally okay with it. He preferred it that way anyhow.